And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Oh my god, we are just diving right on into our next game, into our fresh best of 7. And in the bottom left, we have Wayne, the ace player for the Starlight Twinkles. And in the top right, we have Scarlett, the Shopify Rebellion. Let's go. Oh, she's got the WTL winter hoodie. That's cool. Meanwhile, big shout out to the sponsors as well, to ByuN, Honkai Star, Taido, and Autofull. Without them, we would not have this lovely event. Big shout out to the sponsors as I very quickly start getting those predictions going. My apologies. Oh, here we go. Starlight Twinkle. Actually, I'll do this. I'll do Starlight and Shopify. Who do we got? We got Scarlett and Wayne. Beautiful. Okay, so if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold as we dive into game number 1. Again, we just wrapped up with the Starving Camels, SSLT versus Mystery Gaming, and now we are here with our final series of the night. For those that are curious, Shopify are already confirmed. Shopify Rebellion, they are already in the playoffs. Right now, Starlight Twinkle are fighting for a playoff spot. They are so very close here. If they win this series, I think they do qualify for the playoffs. I'm not entirely sure when it comes to the math, but I do know that they have to win. I do know that Starlight Twinkle, they're still in the running. Basically, it's between Starlight Twinkle and Mystery Gaming. Those are the two teams that are vying for that final spot. That's also why it was very important that in the previous series that Strange got as good a score as he could, did get a 1-1 in the end, and I'm not sure if that is enough. I mean, it will depend on whether or not Starlight can win or lose here. Whether they win or lose. Oh boy. And it's going to be a close one, I feel. It's going to be a close one. Wayne versus Scarlett is going to be a spicy ZVZ. This could go either way. I think I give the edge a little bit to Wayne. We have seen Wayne pop off in recent times and take down players like Dark, and take down players like Sterile. I did put Dark twice there because he beat him twice. But yeah, Wayne, every now and then he pops off. He pops off and he can take down a big Zerg player. Ooh. We'll see if he can do the same here against Scarlett. As for now, we're getting into a Hatchcast full standard openers here between our two Zerg players. ByuN is on the way for Wayne. And it should soon be on the way for Scarlett as well. At least I would hope so. Meanwhile, big shout out to Holy Also, thank you so much for letting us know, Raw in the chat letting us know that apparently Starlight Twinkle are not able to go in. They're not able to make it into the playoffs because of, I imagine, because of Mystery Gaming winning. I think that's how it works, question mark. So thank you for letting us know. And just checking, yes, it is confirmed. Okay, so basically Starlight Twinkle, they were relying on Mystery Gaming losing that last series, and in the end, Mystery Gaming did win, so my apologies for that. It looks like there's a little bit less on the line here, but they're still duking it out. They're still fighting off in this series, and here we go. The Baileys are going to be able to finish up. Oh, they do finish just in time. Wayne is pushing in. He does have a wave of links behind this. ByuN from Scarlett is a little bit delayed. No ByuNs yet. There we go. They're just now being morphed in. They're just now being morphed in, and we do see Wayne threatening those queens. ByuN's gonna be rolling on forward as well, looking for a big connection, but alas, the queens do zone them back. Yeah, Wayne, he cannot engage. He has to back off. Behind this, we're droning. Both players droning up. Scarlett, breaking free from the supply block with those 5 overlords. Drones are on the way. And yeah, we do see Wayne just threatening that third base. He can't quite commit to anything. He does take down the Bailing. Nice trade. Really nice trade there from Wayne. As he does pull back. Roach Rowan in production here. For Wayne. He's going to be turning back, and Yeah, here we go. Wayne, he's going to be cutting workers. 34 drones is all he has. He only droned up a little bit, and we're following this up with a big all-in. Essentially, Ling Bane, Roach here from Wayne. Scarlett still trying to get a read on the saturation. One Baneling gets picked off. Ooh, big misstep there from Wayne. A little bit of miscontrol does confirm the lack of saturation. The Roaches are popped. The Banelings, big connections on the Lings. Ay, ay, ay. We were doing so well avoiding that, but Wayne does take a big shot to the face, and now we are pushing, now we are committed, but now Wayne has that much less Lings to work with. Wayne completely all in at this point. Scarlett just has to survive, just has to defend. We'll see if she can. Oh, Bailing is going to get wasted. Lings, they do slip into the main base, drawing back some of those Roaches. Meanwhile, the main army of Wayne trying to catch some of these Queens, and we do. Queens are getting picked off. But Wayne, he's running out of steam. Good connection with those Lings, though. He gets us around on 2 more Roaches. He's breaking through. These Lings doing a great job here, just tanking some of those shots. Bathers, they get into the mineral line. They roll in. Ooh, not the best second connection there. But we do cause some chaos here, cause some havoc in these bases. But it looks like with reinforcements, Scarlett will clean this up. Here come the Lings. Here comes the surround. The Queens, they come down from the main base as well. And Scarlett will clean this up entirely. And Wayne didn't really have a backup plan. Now he's droning. This is true. But he didn't really have a lair behind this. No Evo chamber for +1. No upgrades. Wayne was, for all intents and purposes, all in. And now that the all-in has failed, Scarlett is in a good position. She is up heavily in drones. And yeah, she just has to chill. Chill, get upgrades, work on a lair, build up Roaches. Wayne stuck trying to redrone. Some nice damage though. We get over 4 drones. Oh my god. 4 workers go down. Not too bad at all here. Not too bad at all for Wayne. But he has to do that a couple more times. He's down 20 workers. There's no easy way to say it. He's down 20 drones here compared to Scarlett. That's a massive economic deficit here for Wayne. Goes to show just how committed he was, and the longer this goes on, the worse it is for Wayne. Ay, ay, ay. Honkai Star. Finanto, si, papi, si. But I did try to mention a big shout out to Holy Lime 23 in the chat. Thank you so much for resubscribing. 11 months, almost a year, papi. Almost a year of support. Thank you, Holy Lime. Do appreciate it. Gracias. Always. Really looking forward to the playoffs. Playoffs, yeah, they're going to be amazing. They're going to be next year. Next year. January. It's coming up, papi. It's coming up. Meanwhile, here we go. We have +1 carry base on the way. So Wayne, he's going for a second all-in. He has droned up a little bit, up to 42 at this point. And Wayne, he is just amassing nothing but Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers. Again, if at first you don't succeed, try again. There's no way for Wayne to macro out of this, so he just has to commit. Meanwhile, Scarlett has been able to drone up to 66. That is 3 base saturation. That is around the ideal amount of workers you want to be cutting at in ZVZ. So Scarlett, she's already droned as much as she needs to, and now she can focus on Roach Ravager. Yeah, and Wayne, if you want to hit a timing earlier on, not quite going to be there. Wild's going to be connecting. Lings, they try to dive in. They're looking for a surround. They're trying to trap the army. Wilds, though, they will barely connect. Not even. Yeah, and it looks like Wayne is running out of steam, running out of units. And in the end, Scarlett will clean this up. GG gets caught. Scarlett takes game number 1. GG. But again, really cool to see the WTL. Is that a 2022? That's last year. Oh, okay. But yeah, really cool to see wearing WTL jersey. Sorry, WTL merchandise. Those that are curious, every season there is a gift box. There is a gift box for that WTL do sell to the public. But they make a limited run, a limited amount of gift boxes, and they do sell them. They do sell them on their own channel. If you do want to purchase a WTL gift box, I don't think they're selling this season's ones yet. That's last year's. I'm pretty sure that's last year's jersey or jacket, I should say. I think this season's is still not yet on sale, if I'm not mistaken. Not yet. But it will soon be. I think it'll be on sale for the playoffs. If you are interested in some StarCraft merch. Otherwise, here we go. We're getting ready for game number 2 here. We have Wayne's map of choice is going to be Oceanborn. Okay, so a much smaller map. A map that it is a little bit easier to be aggressive on, and I'm imagining that Wayne wants to be aggressive again. I'm imagining that he does want to be in the face of Scarlett a lot more than on Hecate, and you can achieve that on Oceanborn a little bit easier as well. Oh boy. We'll see if Wayne can pull it off. Again, Wayne is the ace player for a reason for Starlight Twinkle, and I want to believe that he can really make some magic happen here. We'll see. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Let's get ready for game 2. As a reminder, after this, we still have a Cham versus ByuN and ReWhite versus Harstem in a PvP. So still plenty of games ahead of us. I'm looking forward to ReWhite versus Harstem just because ReWhite has been getting some upsets recently. He has been actually, I think it was a while ago now. I think it was like a month and a half, 2 months ago. ReWhite did take down Showtime in Kung Fu Cup. So, mate, if you can take down Showtime, you can take any Protoss player down. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Give some ReWhite later on. Until then, we still have our first mirror matchup here of this best of 7. And again, I'm sure Shopify want the best standings possible coming into the playoffs. They want their best opportunity here to get into it as cleanly as possible. I'm sure. There we go. Just cranking it up a little bit. And we'll see where this takes us. Again, coming into game 2, I imagine that Wayne still wants to be the aggressor. I imagine we're going to be seeing a similar role where Scarlett's going to be kind of flowing with the punches, absorbing the attacks, and then going for a big counterattack. The difficult thing about this, though, as I talk about like the potential of Oceanborn, is that we were just aggressive on Hecate, so it's really hard to really justify playing a similar playstyle 2 games in a row, especially if it fails the first time, just because your opponent is going to be that much more on notice. But we'll see. As in the bottom right hand corner, we have, for Starlight Twinkle, it is Wayne. And in the top left, we have a Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett. Here we go. ZVZ continues here. Wayne going for a 15-15. He has been quite fond of it. Wayne, he's very similar to Shin in that respect, where Wayne more often than not does go for a 15-15, and this should be leading into Roach play. The reason why I say this, quickly speaking about the opener of Wayne, it's a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool into a delayed gas. Because the gas is being taken so late, we are actually going to be focusing on mineral income more than anything. We're going to be focusing on queens initially, delaying link production. And because the gas is so delayed, usually it's not really worth investing into link speed. And this leads into just walling off at the natural and going into a Roach Warren. This did occur in the last CVC that we casted. We'll see if it occurs again. So we'll see if Wayne does rush into that link speed regardless, or he does delay it and invest into a different direction instead. Our eyes are going to be on Wayne. Meanwhile, Scarlett going for a standard opener, hatch gas pull, everything by the book for Scarlett. Again, I do think she's going to be more of the reactive player here, but we'll see. She has been known to be like cheesy at times and hyper aggressive at times as well. some of the highlights of her career have been just coming up with some crazy cheese builds in GSL. You know, the highlight moment when she knocked Rogue out. That was wild. That was many years ago at this point, pre-COVID. I can't believe it's been that long. It's crazy. Crazy to think about. But for now, queens are on the way. Wayne does have enough resources for Ling's speed. Does have 100 gas. We are staying in gas as well. And as I mentioned before, because it was a 15-15, we spoke about how usually this leads into 2-base Roach and we skip Ling's speed, and it looks like that is going to be the case here. Just because Wayne has not touched Ling's speed at all, despite having the gas for it. This should be into Lair plus a Roach Warren, just to get into Roach speed, or into +1. We shall see. But now you can see Wayne is contained to 2 bases. Scarlett is taking a third on time on location. Ooh, Scarlett cancels Ling's speed. You love to see it. This is a risky maneuver. Okay, so a lot just happened. One, as we mentioned before, because of the opener, Wayne, he's going for a fast lair. This should be into Roach Warren. This isn't necessarily mutas. Could be, but isn't necessarily mutas. It should just be roaches. But the reason why Scarlett cancelled Link Speed is because she saw the 2-base Roach. And ideally at this level of play, you want to be as efficient as possible with how you spend your gas, and you don't want to waste it. And if your opponent is skipping Link Speed, you want to skip Link Speed as well, because you want to make as many roaches as you can to be able to keep up against the 2-base Roach of your opponent. Now, this is a really risky thing to do. This is how Wayne beat Dark, for example. Something that happened was Wayne opened up 2-base, just like we saw. Dark cancels Link Speed, but then you find out that Wayne did actually start Link Speed, faked out 2-base Roach, and then Link flooded Dark. Like, stuff like that. You can do, like, crazy, like, mind game stuff like that in TVZ. We can see that that's not the case here, that we actually did, of course, skip Link Speed, and we're investing into Roaches, but, like, that is something that is possible here, and something you have to keep in the back of your mind as a Zerg player in this position, where canceling Link Speed can sometimes be a big risk and can sometimes kill you. So, risky maneuver, but Scarlett, it does pay off. A good read from Scarlett in the end, getting into +1 range, into Roach speed. Roach production has commenced for Wayne. He's cutting workers earlier on, and Scarlett does confirm the Roach is in production. So now she knows to make Roaches as well. And she knows not to be overly greedy here. So Scarlett, she's droned up to 50, has saturated her gases, has droned up a little bit at her third base. It's going to be 6 drones at the third, and now it's just pure Roach. Now, the reality is that Wayne should have a slightly larger army, but Scarlett will have queens to defend alongside Defender's Advantage, which is faster reinforcements. Alongside, like, you know, the high ground in between the bases and just a better angle of attack. So Scarlett will have certain advantages. Overseer dives in for a full scout as well. And here come those queens. We're whirling across the map. We are all in. It's all or nothing here for Wayne. It either works, he either kills Scarlett or dies trying. Oh, the Overlord barely escapes those Ravagers as well. Speaking of, Ravagers are in production. +1 at range is done. Wayne has speed on his side. There we go, we're splitting up our forces. Trying to find a way in. Again, still making nothing but roaches. Wayne has the advantage as well of his queens, now soon to get on creep. But Scarlett dives on the army. Good biles as well. They connect with the queens. We focus down the Ravagers, and Scarlett, she just completely shuts this down. Oh my god. She dives on in. Really awkward angle there for Wayne. The queens weren't able to help. They weren't able to get onto creep. They weren't able to transfuse. That was the kill move for Scarlett. She wanted to dive on the army before the queens got onto creep. And with that, Wayne is now in a lot of trouble. Remember, Scarlett has the better economy. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Scarlett. And she gets on top of the Ravagers, gets on top of the Roaches. Good target firing out of Scarlett, focusing down every single Ravager. And Wayne is going to be at death's door here. Things snowballing out of control. We do have reinforcements trickling in. Wayne can maybe barely hold on here, but these have not been good trades. Files once again forcing Scarlett back. Oh, sorry, forcing Wayne back as Scarlett gains more and more ground. Could even try and go for those overlords, but getting good control out of Scarlett. Could be pulling back with those Ravagers. There we go, saving them. GG gets called, and Scarlett will take the 2-0, taking down Wayne. GG. GG, well played. I know Scarlett is back in North America at the moment, so it's not at the best time, but GG. Solid performance there. Looked a little bit tired is what I was getting at. Looked a little bit tired after that win, but a solid win nonetheless. A 2-0 here in favor of Shopify, and now we get ready for our next best of 2. Up next, Cham versus ByuN. When it comes to Wayne's builds, I'm still all for it. I'm still all for the builds. Game 1 was rough. If you remember, the problem with Game 1 is that Wayne did take a big bathing to the face, and he lost so many links before the all-in occurred, so Wayne did struggle a little bit there. Meanwhile, here in Game 2, again, like going for a big all-in like that, a 2-base all-in 2 games in a row, Scarlett was already on notice. Like, she was already prepared mentally for that kind of situation. She reacted beautifully to the all-in of Wayne and completely shut it down. Really solid performance, really solid stuff. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be getting predictions ready. Up next, El Chamaco versus El ByuN. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second best of 2 here of this series of Shopify versus Starlight Twinkle. And here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Cham for Starlight Twinkle. And in the top right, we have ByuN for Shopify Rebellion. Oh, the big mushroom. Fun fact, that is Solar's house, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but that's why there's a second chair behind him on the left. I'm pretty sure this is a different angle of Solar's apartment. We saw ByuN. A couple of days ago, Solar was playing, obviously, for Team Onside in WTL, and ByuN was chilling in the background. He was just like behind him watching, and we're like, and it was a great ceremony at the end when Solar won his match. ByuN, he slowly thumbs up, Fabulous, giving Solar support. It's beautiful. Was beautiful. But from here, if you do wish to get your gamba going, predictions in the chat are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold. Predictions open. Why is ByuN not playing? He is. ByuN is playing. He's just in Solar's apartment. Here we go. As we settle into our next best of 2 series here. There's going to be a hatch gas pool opener out of Cham. Standard opener. We are loading into Radisson Station, which this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be a very interesting one here for Cham. Just because we very rarely get to see Zerg versus Terran on Radisson Station, so I'm really curious how greedy we're going to be, how greedy ByuN is going to be, and how greedy Cham is going to be as well. But yeah, this is just a new angle of Soul's apartment. We don't really get to see too often. I don't know why ByuN is staying over with Solar. Maybe it's for the holidays. Maybe. I don't know how big Soul's apartment is. I know that he's married. He lives with his wife and stuff. But yeah, ByuN, he's hanging out for a little bit. I mean, Solar isn't there. His chair is empty. Solar isn't there. But maybe he'll drop by for the ceremony. I want him to give the thumbs up. For now, though, ByuN behind this. Ooh, getting into a 3 ranks builder behind this. Okay, very aggressive here out of ByuN. Not something that I was really expecting on Radisson Station, but this is gonna be interesting here. A very delayed starport going for a 3-1 opener. This is almost a TVP build, actually. Essentially, we're going to be building up a hefty army. We're going to be building up a very large Marine and Marauder count early on. Hellions going to be active across the map. This should be hitting with medevacs. There should be a starport alongside a reactor behind this to get into medevac production. We might try to hit without medevacs. That would be wild. Be crazy. Are these matches played live or pre-recorded? They are live. They are live unless they're pre-recorded. What I mean by that is that all these matches are live. Sometimes there are situations where players cannot actually play at the scheduled time, so they play ahead of time and they submit replays. You will know when that happens, because if that ever does occur, if players ever submit replays, we don't have player cams. Player cams aren't involved if replays are submitted. So this is live. So if you ever see this and there aren't any player cams and there are like still images or like there are player headshots, then you know it's a replay. Just as a heads up for transparency. These Hellions are going to be rotating around, dipping between the bases. Thanks. All good, all good. Welcome, Selex. Welcome. Yeah, there we go. The starport is on the way behind this. This is basically a borderline 2-base all-in out of ByuN, by the way. Like, this is a very delayed third TC. Very aggressive here. I was not expecting this out of ByuN on Radisson. I should have emphasized that before. That's what's surprising to me about this. I know ByuN has been very aggressive recently. We casted ByuN over the past week in Kung Fu Cup, in the ESL Open Cup Asia as well. And ByuN has been very all-in in his playstyles. We saw him against Dark. We've seen him against Solar as well, and yeah, ByuN has been just hyper aggressive recently. I'm not too sure why, but he's just been very prone to taking a third. Like, his thirds are always so delayed. Behind this though, Cham, he's saturating on 3 bases. We have a Roach Warren on the way, but this is going to be close because Cham is still droning and Cham doesn't know what's going on. Here comes the medevac drop, by the way. Going to be joining up with these Hellions. ByuN still waiting for +1 and combat shields. There we go. The drop into the natural base. Lings, they're in position. The Lings are in position, but alas, they're going to be cleaned up as well. The Marines, they stim into the mineral line. Boys are pulled away. Hellions, at the same time, they dive in. Oh my god. They're going for the drones. The drones are lining up, and it looks like we get, 5 of them. No, 9. The drones. Oh my god, so many of them go down to the Hellions. We defended against the Marines quite well, but that is 12 workers going down. Ay, ay, ay. A brutal amount of damage, and this has been more than worth it for ByuN. Remember, behind this, the third CC is on location for ByuN. It is very late, it's very delayed. He had to get damage done. He had to trade well, and he did. Killing 12 drones here, saving most of his Marines, trading out those Hellions. Was worth it. And from here, ByuN will keep the pressure up. He's hunting down this Overlord, and he's reinforcing 2 more Raxes. It's going to be 5 Raxes in total. Armory is on the way for +2. And ByuN wants to keep the pressure up. Again, ByuN, once he sets a pace, once he sets a tempo for the game, it's very difficult to kind of slow it down from there. Meanwhile, Cham, he's still amassing a roach-based army. Queens are in position, drop is coming in. Ooh, is going to be deflected. Again, good foresight, good positioning out of Cham. Able to force back that double drop. You can see Cham has an equivalent amount of drones to ByuN, or pretty equivalent, which is not ideal. ByuN has those SCVs alongside mules, so ByuN has the better economy at the moment. Cham going to be taking up even further. He's going for 1-1. He's going for an infestation pit. That will help. I imagine that's going to be 1 for Hive Tech, but 2 most likely for Infestors. Infestors, they can support a Roach Ravager army quite well. And again, Cham is a bit of a Roach Ravager boy. Very similar to Dark in that sense. More often than not, he will go Roach Ravager in this matchup. Very safe way to play, true, but doesn't scale too well into the mid-game, into the late game. Ideally, we want to get out of Roach Ravager. This infestation bit could also be for the beginning of Hydrolurker Viper. Like with +1 range upgrades, it is a more seamless transition here for Cham. For now, though, the pit is done. Cham is still amassing his army, and ByuN is hitting the field once again. And there are those safety infestors on the way. Bungle's going to be very necessary here to shut down these Marines. 2 drones go down. Good pickoffs here by ByuN. At the same time, ByuN pushing through the center. Clearing up a decent amount of creep before being forced back. I do also appreciate that ByuN, he's abusing one of the big limitations of this army composition from Cham, and that is the anti-air. There's no mutas, there's no corruptors, there's no hydras. These drops, they're getting a bit out of hand here, getting 5 more drones. You can see how slow, how immobile this Roach army is. Behind this, we do have a Spire on the way. Scan, I believe, missed it. We scanned the natural, the Spire is in the main. So we have our anti-air of choice. The tanks! Oh my god. Big tank volleys going off. The Biles, ooh, they take down a Medivac. Not bad, Biles. Cham has to be very careful. He is maxing out on Roach Ravager. But ByuN's army is one to be respected. Infestors are on the way. Can we land a good fungal? We can! Big fungal here in the army. The Biles! They barely graze the army. Not a bad start for Cham. At the same time, double drop into the main base. Can Cham keep up? Another tank volley going to be going off. Again, with this Spire, we can get into, I imagine, Corruptors. Mutas are also going to be available, but again, I imagine Corruptors is going to be the tank of choice. We'll see. As we do drop into the natural as well. These Ravagers getting very low. So our decent Biles, but we do need a couple more to bring down the tanks. Cham, he's holding on. Meanwhile, any kind of economic disadvantage that ByuN once had, he's up to almost 90 SCVs. It's crazy. His economy is booming. His third base is up and running. Fourth is on the way. And ByuN is not slowing down. His economy is out of this world. And now he can focus on his army, focus on rallying across the map. There are those Corruptors on the way. We mentioned it before. But Corruptors, they're a little bit more in sync with Roach Ravager. Working straight away, getting into those, or into that Greater Spire. Looking towards Broodlords. So tech-wise, Cham, he's in a decent position. Decent with what tech he has available. His main army that he's stuck with, though, is subpar. Here we go, we're going for a triple drop into the pocket base. At the same time, the main army pushing through the center, and Cham not in position. Big bungles. But this drop, it's getting out of hand. We get into the mineral line. 18 drones go down over mineral line. The picture-in-picture, 23 drones. Not like this. The economy of Cham's being crippled. We even get the base as well. The hatchery does fall. We drop into the main. We get eyes on the Greater Spire. Now we know that Vikings are needed. Immediately, Ghost Academy. They're on the production tab. Ghost Academy is on the way. We're getting ready for those Broodlords. Files, they do connect. But ByuN, he's just snowballing out of control, pushing on through, forcing back the army. Did he get the Greater Spire? There are 5 Broodlords in production, true. But again, ByuN is getting ready for it. The Greater Spire did go down, by the way. Drop into the main base. 6, 7 plus workers going down. Shoutouts to the picture-in-picture. As again, Cham just cannot keep up. That's another hatchery falling. And even if Cham forces this back, the damage has been done. As he gets one of those tanks, he's going to get a second tank as well. He's already lost his base, he's already lost his economy. The drop in the main still alive, by the way, still getting more damage done. ByuN doesn't slow down. Getting another base. Yeah, this hatchery's going to fall. The orders of DPS just too damn high. GG gets called. And ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Ooh, GG, well played. Again, a solid game there from ByuN. Powered by Pepsi. Yeah, a solid game there out of ByuN. Just, again, once he sets the tempo, just so difficult to slow the game down and to stabilize. He was just all over Cham there. Again, abusing the lack of anti-air, abusing the lack of queens, lack of hydras, lack of ability to keep up with those drops. On top of that, it was a very aggressive opener as well. Remember, it was a 3-1-1 opener. Very delayed third TC out of ByuN. But he just did so much with it. He was able to not just shut down the Lings and also go toe-to-toe with the Roaches, but he killed over, what, 12 drones? It was wild. Wild how many workers he was able to kill. And just like that, ByuN, he was able to justify how late his third base was and able to eventually snowball out of control. GG, well played. And this map makes a lot of sense. It looks like Cham, he wants some breathing room. He wants his opponent to back the hell off. We're going for another large map. It's going to be ByuN. ByuN is coming up next. Again, this is kind of the new Gressman. A very large map, very prone to cutting in half. You can set up on a 4, even 5 base economy quite nicely here from both players. Can be quite defendable. There are also some cheeky things you can do. You can rush into a fast gold base, for example, in the center of the map. You can go for the gold. There are also some pretty strong 2-base timings you can go for as well. It's a little bit risky just because of the points of elevation and the defender's advantage that both ByuN and Cham will have. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Cham for Starlight Twinkle. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have ByuN for Shopify Rebellion. Here we go. Hola, buenos dias, Jeff. Buenos dias. I see you just woke up. I'm assuming you went to bed after KSL and you missed out on GPO. I'm assuming. Buenos dias, papi. Buenos dias. As we are going to be settling into this, ByuN looking to go for a Rax Expand, not a CC first. He has done so in the past, but isn't feeling too frisky this time. Likewise, Cham going for a Hatch Gas Pool. Yeah. Fair enough, papi, fair enough. If you missed out, if you're a fan of Hon Mono, I highly recommend checking out the VODs. We cast a GPO earlier, in between KSL and WTL, and GPO was essentially a show match between Hon Mono and Nice. It was a best of 7. Best of 7. It was beautiful. It's you got everything you ever wanted out of Hung Mono. Crazy animal. Meanwhile, we're settling into this, and again, it's going to be a Reaper first into the CC on the low ground. Interesting that ByuN is opting not to go for a 2-Rax opener. He's been very fond of going 2-Rax Reaper, especially on a map like ByuN, but here we're calming things down. We'll check it out. Oh yeah. It's good, papi. It's good. Beautiful. Yeah, for now we're just going to be settling into the early game here. No major points of deviation. It's not like Cham's going for a 15-15. Again, it's not like ByuN is going for a CC first or anything like that. Now, something important to bear in mind though is that, again, Cham is very prone to going into something like Roach production, so I'm very curious to see how he invests his gas. He's going to get 100 gas, and okay, he is pulling out. Very important to bear in mind. He pulls out, we'll be getting link speed. At the same time, third base soon to be taken, but ByuN is in position. Oh my god, being as annoying as possible, and we do morph in that gas geyser. We do keep that drone alive, but Cham, he is contained to 2 bases. He is contained. He needs to expand behind this. A polar opposite build. Remember, on Radisson Station, ByuN went for a very delayed third TC. here. Oh no! You can see Cham shake his head, smile a little bit as well. He knows that gas geyser was not meant to finish. Ay, ay, ay. Hope Cham is okay. He's been coughing a little bit on cams, but yeah, that should not have happened. Wasted resources, wasted drone. May as well have died at that point. And yeah, a rough start here for Cham. Not the end of the world, but it is a rough start. But what I was getting at is that last game, ByuN was hyper aggressive. This game, 3rd CC before starport. Very economic here from ByuN. Showing us that, hey, he can be one or the other. He can be hyper aggressive and in your face, or he can be just very economic. He can do it all. From here, it looks like it's going to be 3CC into Banshee play, which again is very economic, very standard, very by the book, very safe. This kind of Banshee variation does keep you safe against Roach-based play, just because Banshees do an amazing job at focusing on Roach and Ravager-based pushes, in case that was the direction of Cham. And Cham did play Roaches last game. This game, though, is going double Evo Chamber. Looks like he wants to go 1-1 Carapace and Melee. Looks like Cham wants to get into Ling Bane. And now he's going to be forcing back those Reapers and Hellions. Trying to gain control of his side of the map. Do have Stim on the way. There is Carapace, and we should be seeing Melee alongside it. Oh. Never mind. Hey, there we go. There it is. There is Melee on the way. So again, this time Cham is not playing Roaches, he's playing Ling Bane. This is a bit of a greedy way to play it, but very effective, and he shouldn't be punished for it either. The reason why you can get away with delaying your Baneliness and delaying your lair, as we do go for a dive. Oh my god! ByuN, he's pushing in. The Lings go down. We get into the mineral line as well. Drones are getting roasted. We ignore the natural. We go straight for the main base. And hopefully this time the drones do not line up. Hopefully, as the Hellions, they're not done. They're not even close here. 7 drones go down. Half of a mineral line. We're going to get an 8th. And we could get a 9th as well. It's going to be close. Phew. 8 worker kills. Half a mineral line gone in an instant here. For Hellions, good trade here for ByuN. Especially considering that Hellions fall off. Like, Hellions, they don't really scale too well into the mid-game, so you want to get rid of them once they've kind of served their purpose. So, decent dive out of ByuN. But what I was getting at is that because ByuN went for a very economic opener, because he prioritized his 3rd CC, that means that the Zerg player can get away with delaying the Baneliness and delaying the lair and going into 1-1. That's why the upgrades for Cham are going to be that much faster. So Cham, he will be ahead in upgrades. Should be working on a lair though. I think because of all the drone damage, the lair is delayed. But we need the lair to get into 2-2 and to get into Baneling speed. Like, the lair should be in production soon. Whereas the Queen is taking a lot of hits. A lot of damage is being dealt. Baneling Nest is on the way. Okay, there we go. For a moment there, I was like, yo, if we're getting a 6-minute lair timing, are we just gonna like go all in with Ling Bane? But there it is, the lair is now in production. But this is a very late lair for Cham. I'm all for delaying the lair, I'm all for that, but this is very late. And I don't think this was intentional. I think this was a mistake just because of all the Hellion harass. Usually you want the lair, like, the observer's just pointing it out. Usually you want the lair to finish up as the Baneling Nest finishes, but the Baneling Nest has been done for quite some time. Just so you can go straight into Baneling speed. The other big reason is we rush into 1-1. What was the point if we're not starting 2-2? You know, again, we can't start 2-2 without the lair. So this is a big misstep here from Cham, and because of that, his opener is a little bit lackluster as a result. Like, his tech as well is suffering. Meanwhile, the Marines, they do dive in. No Banelings, by the way. We can just fight the Lings. Banelings are going to be targeted down. Decent connection towards the end here, and it looks like we should clean up the army of Cham. And this is becoming too much. Cham doesn't have much left over. The Queens have to come in. Again, very efficient trade here by ByuN. Cleaning up the Lings, the Banelings. Widowmine shots have not been wasted. But it looks like he barely doesn't have enough to keep on pushing. And there we go. We have a Roach Warren finishing up. Roach Speed on the way alongside 2-2. I think this is just a way to, like, a stopgap measure for Cham to go into Roaches now. It's going to be risky, though. Can he survive? Because ByuN, he's not slowing down. And Cham did just lose a lot of Banelings. Widow Mines are burrowing. The shots are going to be going up. Oh my god. Not quite. That bailing speed is still just starting. Would you force some friendly fire? Oh my god. The Mind Drag. Not too bad. The Mind Drag on the Marines. Looks like the Banshees have fallen as well. From here though, Cham going to be ByuN going to be rotating towards the south. Cham trying to keep up. Bailing speed more than halfway done. We just need a little bit more time. Speaking of bailings, they get caught here. A Queen as well. Good pickups by ByuN, and he is tempted to go for the hatchery. And good trades here. The Lings, they cannot engage. Too many Marines, too much man with gun. We focus down the bailing, and this hatchery is going to fall. Yeah, there's no saving it. The base goes down. GG gets called. ByuN has too much momentum and will take the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A solid performance there out of ByuN. And with that, Shopify will be securing their win here. Again, it's a best of 7. Scarlett had a 2-0. ByuN had a 2-0. And that is all they needed. That does take a lot of pressure off of Harstem. Now, we will still play out the final series, ReWhite versus Harstem. But again, Shopify will take the series one way or another. A big shout out to Cham, though. Again, he was able to keep up with ByuN for a time, but god, because of the aggressive nature of ByuN, it did force some mistakes out of Cham and did force some missteps here and there. I do think that Raz's Station was maybe like Cham's best opportunity. He was able to max out, but max out on a subpar army and yeah, had a hard time keeping up. Regardless, GG, well played, and again, a really good performance out of ByuN. From here, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, the final best of 2 of this series, ReWhite versus Harstem. See you soon. See you soon. Welcome back. It was a short break, but we have returned with our final best of 2 here of the night. It is going to be ReWhite versus Harstem in a PvP. And this is going to be a spicy one here. Harstem's going to be coming in as the favorite player. Yes, that is true, as he does leave us for a moment. But ReWhite has been having some really surprising results recently. I mentioned before, but we were lucky enough to cover ReWhite's maybe almost 2 months ago at this point in Kung Fu Cup, where he was able to take down Showtime in a best of 3, which was very impressive. And ever since then, we've been paying a little bit more closer attention, and ReWhite, he's been getting some really good results, specifically in PvP. PvP seems to be his wheelhouse. It seems to be his kind of best matchup here to snipe a good player, to snipe an even greater player. So if an upset were to occur, I wouldn't be too surprised. I'm hoping for a 1-1, but we'll see, because, you know, as amazing as ReWhite has been recently, the reality is that it is the year of Harstem. It is the year of Harstem, and Harstem has been on fire recently as well. He's peaking when it comes to skill this year, and he's not going to be an easy opponent. He is not going to be a slouch here in this matchup. Oh boy. It's going to be intense. And as we get ready for our final best of 2, if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold. Good luck. And predictions are open. You can place your bets on if you think it's going to be a 2-0 in either direction or a 1-1 score. Up to you. Up to you to decide, up to you to predict. Oh, that's a Home Story Cup hoodie. Let's go. The StarCraft merch coming out strong tonight. We had Scarlett with the 2022 WTL hoodie. Harstem with, I think that was the, what is it, Lonely Islands edition of Home Story Cup. What's it called? No, Lost Island. That's it. I think that was the Lost Island logo, question mark. From, I think, Home Story Cup 22, 23. But I don't know, I barely saw it. I barely saw the logo there on his chest. Regardless, really cool to see him represented. Here we go, we're just diving right on in. And in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris for Starlight Twinkle, it is ReWhite's chin. Let's go. And in the top right, we have for Shopify Rebellion, it is Harstem. I always love it when the players perfectly frame the camera to very clearly show off their face. Kappa. Shaking my head, Bobby. Shaking my head. Aye, aye, aye. Solid framing. Solid framing. As we are getting into this. Not the worst we've seen. Yo, we've seen, like, Wayne's, you know, bottom jaw before. Like, we've had some interesting cropping and some interesting camera positions. I think it was yesterday, right? Yesterday we casted Estrella, and Estrella, he had a very similar setup here to ReWhite, but you could see his face, but it was like, you know, that top-down POV sort of thing where we were just looking up at Estrella, looking up at his majesty. It was beautiful. Regardless, we're getting into this, and so far it's going to be two gate openers. Two gate openers from both players, from both Harstem and ReWhite. We are settling into this. Oh, hello, Harstem. As he is going to be sending his first probe down towards the south, committing to a proxy pylon. It has been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've casted a Protoss player go for a proxy. When I say that, I mean hours ago. We casted Classic versus Hero, and to be fair, there were some proxy robos there. But this is looking like a prime location for a proxy Stargate opener. Now, proxy Stargate is not all in. It is a way to get ahead economically, because you chrono out that Oracle, you get into the mineral line, you kill probes, and you get ahead. It's a good way to kind of gain momentum in the early game. And there it is. The Stargate has been thrown down for Harstem. Now, ReWhite comes in for a probe scout, and ReWhite does confirm that the pylon is missing. The second pylon is not where it should be, so ReWhite, he knows to scout. Now, for all ReWhite knows, it could be a fake proxy pylon, or it could be a real one. He doesn't know, but he has to respect it. So he's scouting, he's checking, and we'll see if he comes across the proxy of Harstem. Meanwhile, he's going to be going double stalker. Ooh, Harstem going for a robo follow-up. Very interesting. Sorry, that wasn't Harstem. ReWhite going for a robo opener. ReWhite, he is getting ready to defend against a one base all-in. Robo openers are ideal against, you know, one base, 4-gate blink, or proxy robo, things of that nature. Robo openers are not ideal against a Stargate. And we do confirm ReWhite has come across the proxy. He's getting in position. He's aware of the Stargate. He's aware of the Oracle. So really good scouting out of ReWhite. Really good game sense overall and game knowledge, of course. Now, with this robo opener, the reason why it's amazing against all-ins is because it can grant you access to early Immortals, to an early War Prism, to juggle, to have like pseudo blink as well. But we do have a delayed expansion as a result, and we're going for a Prism. That is, I believe, a third gateway on the way. So ReWhite, he can turn this on its head and turn this into a one-base all-in. Initially, I 100% believe that this was meant to be a defensive opener, but with this War Prism on the way, we can commit. I'm curious. We'll see. The longer this goes on with ReWhite not expanding, the more likely this is that it's going to be an all-in. Meanwhile, Harstem getting ready back at home. Harstem responds with his own robo, so Harstem, with his defensive robo, will have access to Immortals, and he will be able to survive what comes next, ideally. So far, we haven't really lost too much yet, and here we go, ReWhite, he's committed! He's committing. ReWhite, he's committing across the map. The Oracle does arrive, and do we get much damage done? Do we have a shield battery? Looks like we have a couple of units. The Oracle is going to be forced back. So far, good defense out of ReWhite. And again, it's all or nothing. He's going to be warping in across the map. He does force a cancel. Harstem knows. Now Harstem realizes what's been going on. Immortal is being chronoed out. We have a sentry. Oh, we should be getting a sentry. There we go. We have a sentry already done here for Harstem. He can force field the ramp. He can slice up this army. Shield battery is done. Overcharge is available. Good force field, but the juggling is good as well. ReWhite doesn't lose anything. So far, he keeps all his units alive. He has high ground vision. He can try to maybe ferry into the main base. He's backing off. ReWhite is retreating. It looks like ReWhite wants to expand. Okay, ReWhite. So, I mean, he did the bare minimum. The bare minimum for ReWhite was canceling the natural. And from here, he turns back around, shuts down the Stargates, and should be expanding. Meanwhile, the turns have tabled. Now, Harstem making a prism. Harstem was forced to make this army. I'm sure he wants to make use of it. Is going to be expanding. ReWhite still hasn't taken his own Nexus, though. I'm curious. Like, ReWhite retreating to kill the Stargate was the tell. Oh my god, the Oracle! We get the Oracle as well. Big pick off. This, as Harstem does shake his head on a bit of a rough loss there. Now, because of the loss of that Oracle, Harstem doesn't know if ReWhite is expanding. He doesn't know if his opponent is all in or not. I don't even know. But ReWhite, he does throw down the Nexus. So it looks like he is transitioning out of this, but Harstem is in the dark about that, and ReWhite is applying a lot of pressure. He's moving out. I'm loving these adepts. He's going to be threatening a shade into that main. Ooh, and we do get in. Harstem not quite in position to deny that. Meanwhile, we dive on top of that Immortal. Can we focus it down? We do not. Good juggling out of Harstem. But alas, ReWhite, he commits. He's pushing on forward. He focuses down the Stalkers, focuses down the Prism as well. The Prism will survive. The Immortal does fall back. Good trades out of ReWhite, though. He shuts down the Gateway composition, the Gateway army. At the same time, Adepts did shade in. But it looks like they were dealt with. Good force fields here out of ReWhite, looking for another force field. The Immortal! Oh, barely is saved. Clutch juggling there by Harstem, keeping his Immortals alive. But will he lose that Nexus? The Nexus is taking a lot of hits, and it looks like ReWhite, he will get a kill on this base. Harstem, he wants to try to engage. Once again, do we dive on top of the Immortal? We do. Good save. Good save out of Harstem. We get another force field, and that's going to be a kill on the Nexus. Harstem, he loses 7 probes as well. And as a result, ReWhite takes an economic lead. ReWhite has a base, Harstem doesn't. So again, really good control here out of ReWhite. Able to just force back the army, force field the ramp. And now Harstem is committed. Now Harstem has to be the aggressor, and ReWhite has to back the hell up. ReWhite, he has to race back home, set up his shield batteries, get ready with the overcharge, and make sure he survives. ReWhite, he knows he's ahead. And can he maintain that lead? ReWhite, he's got 37 workers, he's got 9 workers above that of Harstem. You can see the economy graph deep in the blue, deep in favor of ReWhite. The pressure is on Harstem. From here, Harstem has options. He can go for a 2-base all-in. He can go for a fast third. A faster third would mean that he can, of course, make 3 probes at a time and catch back up. Oh, we do get into the main! We dip into the main base. Harstem out of position. Probes are going down. Oh my god, Harstem already had a crippled economy, and now it's even more crippled here. Again, there's a reason why I brought up before that we have seen ReWhite beat Showtime, and relatively recently, and again, this seems to be his best matchup. ReWhite, if he's ever going to take down a big name, it's going to be in a PvP. So far, he's looking good, but we'll see if he can bring it home. I love this from Harstem. So I was in the middle of talking about how do we come back in this game. We can go for an all-in, we can go for a fast third. Harstem, his answer to tech up. Fast pay. Fast robotics pay, which means fast disruptors. And you can be down 20, 30, 40 supply. 1 or 2 good Novas with disruptors, and hey, you can win a fight. You can swing things in your favor. We just need time to get into disruptors. But that is a good way to come back in PvP. It's either like disruptors or Dark Templar. Hallucination comes in, and I think ReWhite gets eyes on the Bay. Meanwhile, ReWhite, he rotates over towards the right-hand side. He's getting on top of the ramp. He's pushing towards that natural. Harstem, no shield battery. Uh-oh. No shield battery, no overcharge. Harstem doesn't have the best defensive position here. We can go for it. No, he misplaced the shield battery. Harstem, he smiles for a moment there. He knows. Not like this. ReWhite doesn't commit, he backs off. Glaives are on the way. Bold move here from ReWhite. ReWhite, he's taking a third, so ReWhite, he's getting a better, he's capitalizing on his economy, getting into Glaive Adepts. Now, the way this works, we spoke about this before. Glaives do not have a lot of longevity in this game. They don't scale too well, but it's a good way to harass, to cripple your opponent's economy even further, as we have Adepts coming back in, and to also tank for your Immortals, or tank the Immortal shots of your opponents. As Adepts, they get into the natural base. Harstem, he's all in at this point. There's no turning back. We got to commit. It's all or nothing for Harstem. He has a Disruptor, and he does wedge himself in between the bases. We do see ReWhite coming in from behind. Good force fields from both players. We slice up the armies. Good target firing out of Harstem. He does focus out one of the Immortals. Harstem, can he pull this off? Can he barely pull this off? Nova goes up. Does connect, but it's not going to be enough. One Nova is not enough, and ReWhite gets a full surround. He cleans up the army across the map. 9 probes went down. GG gets called, and ReWhite will take game number 1. Ooh, let's go. The PvP sniper. He's at it again, Poppy. He's doing it again. GG does take game number 1. I appreciate the smile. Taking that first game, and can he take the 2-0 here? Again, Shopify are already going to be winning this series, but ReWhite, he's fighting back for himself, for his team, for his pride, and that was a solid game 1. Solid game 1 out of ReWhite. He was in full control of that game, denying vision, denying scouting from Harstem, shutting down the opener, catching him off guard, out-positioning him with Glaives. ReWhite was looking damn good in that last game, but can he keep it up? Can he do that again for a second time? That's the real question here. Can we remain consistent, or can Harstem fight back? Here we go. See in the chat. Still better than Max camera. I don't, you know, we get the full body shot. We get the body cam for Max Max's camera. To be fair, you know, we get that bod. Aye. But for now, again, ReWhite looking good, looking powerful. And we have our map of choice. Harstem, he's going to be looking to fight back on Oceanborn. Oceanborn, much shorter rush distance by ground. We have seen many all-ins on this map as well. I'm curious if Harstem is throwing caution to the wind. He's like, you know what? I tried being the defender. I tried, you know, reacting to my opponent. This time, no. I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to force ReWhite to react to me. And I know that in game 1, Harstem went for a proxy Stargate, but again, it's just a way to get ahead economically. It's not designed to all in. This time, he might be more committed. And in the top left, we have, the chin, the ReWhite for Starlight Twinkle. And in the bottom right, we have, for Shopify Rebellion, it is Harstem. And Harstem, he is the favorite player in this series. He's a more well-known player. Maybe that's a better way to put it. He's more well-known. He has a lot more star power behind him. A lot more people are fans of him. A lot of people aren't really familiar with ReWhite. I mean, if you watch the CranKy Ducklings, we cover ReWhite in WTL, we cover ReWhite in Kung Fu Cup. You'd maybe be a little bit more familiar with his accolades, and you'd, you know, have a lot more respect for ReWhite. But I'm sure a lot of people tuning in now are like, who the hell? I've never heard of ReWhite. It's like, and I wouldn't blame you. Even amongst the Chinese scene, amongst the Chinese Protoss players, when you think of the best Protosses, you think of Firefly, Cyan, Jeshi. You know, you think of them first. Afterwards, that's when you think of Young Zest, ReWhite, for example, Joliwa Loves. There's a lot of Protoss players in China, and a lot of them are in the middle of the pack. But ReWhite, he has been improving over time, and I mentioned before that, again, I do believe that his best matchup is PvP. We've seen him upset in PvP before, and he's doing it again. I mean, even if he goes down in game 2, taking a game off of Harstem, I mean, it's respectable, and it's something to be proud of as well. But we'll see if he can go the distance. We'll see if he can go all the way. I'm always here for an underdog story. As for now, 2 gate openers. 2 gate openers all around. Juanito, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Buen música, papi. Shout out to WTL. They do host their own, or they have their own playlist that they do play throughout the tournament. I believe they use the OST of Honkai Star, for those that are curious, for a lot of the music, for a lot of the songs. For now, 2-gate openers all around. This time, Harstem is not going for a proxy pylon. Game 1, he risked it a little bit by going for a proxy Stargate. To wind it back, that proxy Stargate build from Harstem didn't achieve anything. It didn't kill any workers. It was an investment that did not pay off for Harstem. So it was a rough start for him. From here is looking to expand. Both pylons have been spotted, both pylons have been thrown down in their main bases, and both players are looking to expand. Okay, so standard openers all around. 2-gate into Nexus. We see Harstem opening up very safely, very defensively with this sentry. Going for a sentry-based opener. The power of a sentry opener for both players is to go for hallucinations. Basically, the role here is for them to send hallucinations across the map constantly to see the tech, to see if there's an all-in, the timing of the natural, whether there's a Twilight Council, a Stargate, a Robo, a Bay, a Forge. Information is key. Information is king here in PvP. And we can see that both players are mirroring each other. ReWhite is a little bit more inefficient. I believe ReWhite threw down a shield battery and Harstem hasn't. I think that's one of the only big deviations so far. Hallucinations, they confirm the Nexuses for both players. They confirm the Twilight Councils as well. Gracias, papi, gracias. Me caes súper bien. De los mejores casos para mí desde que te conozco. Gracias, gracias. It means a lot. It means a lot. As for now, Adepts are going to be getting across the map. Do have our third base on the way for Harstem. Third base is on the way, has been spotted. ReWhite now aware of the more economic kind of outlook that Harstem is taking here on Oceanborn. Does confirm Blink. And now ReWhite has to make a choice. Either expand ourselves or go for a big counterattack and try to shut down and deny the third base of Harstem. What do we go for? For now, we have the third on the way. Adepts are looking to shade in. We are in position. Do we wall off? We don't! The wall a little bit too late. The Adepts say shade into the main base. Probes are going to be going down. A massive misstep here from ReWhite. 4, 5, 6 probes going down. And this drags the entire army back home. ReWhite, he wanted to be aggressive. He wanted to threaten the third base, but now he's stuck at home. Not like this. 7 dead workers. Now Harstem has a faster third and a better economy, a better worker count. The pressure is now on ReWhite to come back. Pressure's on ReWhite here to try to bounce back and to recover. We can do so in a couple of different ways. We can also go for our own Adept Harass. Very possible. Robo is on the way for Harstem. We can go for, Dark Templar, Robotic Spay for Disruptors, just like what Harstem did in the previous game. But ReWhite, I'm sure, is fully aware that he is at a deficit, and he does need to recover. Yo, I'm loving the hallucinated probes. Again, for those who don't know, this is a little more commonplace in PvP, but if you hallucinate a probe, the hallucination turns into 4 probes, not 1, and you can fan them out to look for proxies. That's the goal here, to look for proxies, look for the army. It's a really good way, a really efficient way to have an immediate scout here, to just fan them out and get as much information as you can get. The downside is that, of course, they are limited by terrain. That is true. So you wouldn't ever go for like a hallucinated probe scout to scout the main base of your opponent, because there's no way for them to get in. But when it comes to fanning them out for looking for proxies and the army, then this is ideal. So different hallucinations have their places in the game for different scenarios. As we do have a hallucinated Phoenix getting into the main base here of ReWhite, getting a full scout once again. And ReWhite is still recovering. Still down in workers. As a result, down in army. We can see Harstem the first to take a fourth. Harstem also moving out with his stalkers. And the ReWhite has to respond. Does have a better engaged. Dives on top of the army as well. Show us the force fields. So far, it doesn't catch any, but that was a good trade for ReWhite. A good moment for him. Picks off additional stalkers, picks off the observer. ReWhite taking his fourth. That was a nice little win for ReWhite, and he needs more. He needs to be able to achieve that a couple more times here to recover. As he's still one step behind in the economy. Likewise, Harstem still being very active. Working on +1. Still heavily reliant on a Blink Stalker based composition. ReWhite is confirming that. Again, both players, they need to know if there's going to be like another upgrade on the Twilight Council for charge. They need to know if there are Archons, Disruptors, Immortals. Stalkers are about to engage. Oh, this is a fight that ReWhite cannot take. He has to back off. Harstem has +1. ReWhite just now finishing +1. And if they shaded once again. Oh, they shade into that natural base. ReWhite, he has to respond. Trying to get in position. Blinks on forward here. He does shut down one of those adepts, but the other will escape. It does take 2 adepts to one-shot a worker. Meanwhile, ReWhite, he's out of position. Harstem getting into the swing of things here. Gaining momentum. Looking to pull apart ReWhite. And so far, good moves. Takes down some of these sentries. Harstem with a little more crisp execution this time. Pushing into a concave. He has to be careful. Does have to be careful not to overextend. There we go. +2 starting off for both players. 4th base on the way. Harstem gonna try and deny it. Try and punish it. We dive on in. Oh, this is a wild dive out of ReWhite. I don't think this is gonna be good enough. Yeah, Harstem, he has the surround. He has the better concave, the stronger army, the larger army, I should say. Overcharge is popped. Harstem has to respect it. Harstem has been trading better. And you can see the gap in supplies widening. As Harstem is just getting further ahead. Again, that was a much better fight for Harstem. We do see a big warping of Zealots, actually. Okay. Gonna be going for a Zealot drop into one of these fringe bases. Likewise, Zealots are gonna be reinforcing the main army of Harstem. You can see that he's up over 10 Stalkers compared to his opponent. That's a lot of Stalkers. The big reason for that is, again, just a better economy. Stalkers dipping in between the bases. Oh, they do run into ReWhite, though. Gotta be careful. Bleeding out 1. Prism comes in, but Harstem gets eyes on this. He does have Stalkers. It does dive on top of that Prism. Behind this, ReWhite catching a couple of Stalkers of Harstem. You can see Harstem repositioning his army. Getting a better concave. ReWhite, he has to back off. And the Zealots get cleaned up. Harstem still in control. And again, what we would have been really lacking is either a Adept Harass or some other form of tech here from ReWhite. Instead, he's just kind of sticking to his guns, which on the one hand is a bit respectable, but on the other hand, it's just so difficult to come back from. Harstem is maxed. He's up 50 supply. It's crazy. He's up so heavily here in army supply. He is pushing into an Immortal. The Immortal will help. Will help with add some extra DPS here to this army. And shield batteries, cannons on the way. Harstem bleeding out a little bit, but he does deny the 5th. That's what's important. He denies the 5th Nexus. ReWhite still one step behind, and Harstem, he can take a fight. He dives on top of the Stalkers. The Zealots take close the distance as well. But getting on top of the Immortal, there is no Warp Prism. There's no way to juggle. The Immortal gets focused down. Big pick up there from Harstem. But we're running out of Stalkers. We have to be careful. Defender's advantage. ReWhite, the Stalkers of ReWhite, they were doing so well for themselves. The supply swings in his favor. Same time as Zealot warping across the map. Can ReWhite pull this off? Can he come back? Once again, catching some Stalkers. Good pickups here. Oh, bleeds out a couple of Stalkers there. Zealot warping across the map. ReWhite bleeding out too much. A bit of a messy fight. Harstem may be probing up too much. He's almost maxed out on 93 probes. My god. That's a lot of workers. It's a lot of probes. ReWhite does have the slightly higher army supply. workers are going to be threatening this center base. Cannon's going to be buying a little bit of time here, but again, ReWhite, he does have the supply advantage. Oh, he's going to be forced back. Yeah, really awkward angle of attack. A lot of Stalkers could not fight. At the same time, Harstem going for a run-by. Uh-oh. Going for a big Zealot run-by here at the natural. ReWhite, he's maxed. He cannot warp in back at home. Uh-oh, he's going to have to recall. Good hold position here over that cannon. ReWhite, he's going to be committing, trying to force his way into this 5th base. Overcharge, putting in a lot of work. Good target firing out of Harstem. Does focus down the Immortal. Meanwhile, across the map, 16 pros have gone down. Those Zealots, they have just wreaking havoc in the natural base. Yeah, the Zealot run-by getting out of control. Busting into the main as well, not just the natural. And ReWhite's committed. 100% he's committed. He dives on top of the army. The overcharge has run out. And ReWhite, he can take this fight. Ooh, but Zealots are coming in. That will complicate things. Harstem, he's holding. Yeah, with these reinforcing Zealots here, should be able to force this back. It's still looking so close. ReWhite hiding his heart out here. He needs to reinforce. Gateways are being depowered. Yeah, he warps in back at home. And Harstem still has a solid economy. ReWhite has a bank, yes, but suddenly he's down 30 workers. And he had caught up. I was so impressed that ReWhite had caught up in the economy and the upgrades in almost every aspect. Not anymore. We have some Zealots here in the main base. ReWhite, he was fighting back hard. Harstem, he's over 100 probes. Oh my god. Yeah, he has to get rid of them. Oh my god. Gotta be long distance mining, actually. Ay, ay, ay. So, because they do run into each other. Prism does expose himself for a moment. And Harstem, he has the better concave. Zealots are on the way. And with these Zealots, we do force back Harstem. It's all about those Zealot reinforcements. Once again, Harstem coming in for another run by ReWhite. He's not set up for it. Does have some warp-ins. Harstem actually invested in armor upgrades as well. Bear that in mind. That one pylon. Oh my god, the Zealots are getting out of hand. Gateways are being repowered. ReWhite, he's running out of that bank, by the way. Is running out, and slowly but surely this this natural base is being broken. And Harstem, he's got the better concave once again, forcing his way up the ramp. Does run into Zealots, actually. A nice trap here from ReWhite. He's able to take a slightly better fight as a result. But additional Zealots are coming in to reinforce. And it looks like it's just a numbers game at this point. It looks like it's just becoming a little bit too much. Harstem has finally done it. GG gets called. He does a fight back. Ties it up 1-1. GG. But that was not the easiest of games. Again, Harstem initially had momentum, and then ReWhite, he did recover, essentially. He did recover in that game, but the Zealot counterattack, oh god, that was the game-winning move for Harstem. Crippled the economy, shut down some of the production, and ReWhite just could not defend. He forced himself all in, couldn't pull it off in the end. GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Shopify Rebellion for taking the series 5-1. A big shout out to ReWhite here for fighting back and for not just taking one game out of Harstem, for even not looking too bad in game number 2 as well. GG. GG, well played. Big shout out to ReWhite, and I do look forward to seeing more of him in the future. Again, he has been improving a lot over the past year. He has been improving so much, and hopefully that continues to be the case. Fingers crossed. Hopefully. And always a good thing to see players improve. And with that, we have concluded the round robin group stage. The round robin group stage has ended for WTL, and we are getting ready to show off the standings. I believe the final standings are being calculated, and they are soon to be shown here on screen to find out who makes it into the playoffs and who doesn't. Let's go. Again, it is going to be top 7. Top 7 make it into the playoffs. The playoffs will be played out next year. I say next year, January. January of next year will be the playoffs to determine who is the WTL 2023 Winter Champion. who is the best team of 2023. Of course, Onside are the reigning champions. Last season, it was Onside versus Basilisk in the finals, and that is where Solar became the Serral Slayer and just game after game just dominated Serral there in those finals. But I'm sure Serral wants his revenge, and there it is. There are the final standings. We have Onside as number 1, Basilisk as number 2, followed by Dragon Kaizi Gaming, Shopify Rebellion, Sidestorm Gaming, Team Liquid, and Mystery Gaming as well. This is it. The final standings, top 7 make it in. My condolences to the teams that did not barely make it through, to Starlight Twinkle, Matcherino Esports, Platinum Heroes, Kwangdong Freaks, and the Starving Camels. Unfortunately, they did not make the cuts. Their tournament run ends here in the round robin group stage. GG, well played. They fought hard. They did well for themselves here. It was really cool to see the debut of Kwangdong Freaks and of Matcherino Esports here this season. And here is the playoff bracket. We have Team Liquid versus Mystery Gaming up first, into Sidestorm, into Shopify, into DKZ, into Basilisk, into Onside. This is the playoff bracket. This shows how important it is to place highly in the round robin group stage, because Onside are number 1. They're seeded into that final series. Basilisk are number 2, they seeded into the second last series. DKZ, Shopify, so on and so on. So it's going to be a long road for Team Liquid and Mystery Gaming. We have seen it before where these teams go for some very deep runs, but it's a long road. It's a long road to the finals to face off against Onside. Look forward to it. Look forward to it here. GG. With that, again, that's going to be next year, and that is our final broadcast of WTL for the year, for 2023. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. I know I did. I was struggling today because this was our third broadcast. This was our third broadcast of the day. We started the day off with KSL, into GPO, into WTL, and I was really struggling to maintain consciousness during the end of the Starving Camels versus, who was it? I have already forgotten as well. Actually, I was losing it. Starving Camels versus Mystery Gaming. I don't know if you noticed, especially in one of the last series in the ZVZ, I was like, I could barely keep my eyes open. I was nodding off a little bit. There were times where I was just saying stuff that didn't even make any sense, like a word or two here or there, and I would notice it. I was like, So I was really struggling. During the break, I was able to get some coffee. I was able to splash some water on my face, and we got some second wind. Thankfully, I got my second wind here just in time for Shopify versus Starlight Twinkle, and it was a good series, a really good series. I mean, so was the Starving Camels versus Mystery Gaming as well. I'm just so worn out. Casting 3 events back to back to back, not the best idea. Oh god, I mean, on top of that, usually we're okay, but I did have to solo cast WTL, and I didn't really get a lot of sleep either. I didn't really get a lot of sleep, so that affected it. But we're back, and yeah, with that, we made it. We made it to the end. We're alive, Papi, we're alive, and it was a great day of StarCraft. Non-stop StarCraft. With that, though, we're done for the weekend. I mentioned this before, but usually we're live on a daily basis. Usually we're live every single day with some StarCraft here on the CranKy Ducklings. But tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and we don't have anything scheduled to cast. So tomorrow is our first day off since December 1st, I believe. December 1st, I think, was our last one. Before that, it was August 26th. But yeah, it is going to be a bit of a day off, so no casting here on the Ducklings. No casting tomorrow, but we're going right back into our casting schedule. This week is a big week for us because Masters Coliseum. Masters Coliseum has returned. Masters Coliseum number 7 qualifiers start on Monday. Christmas Day. Christmas Day here is Masters Coliseum. The Asia qualifiers, day after that is America qualifiers. Day after that, Korea, Europe. Every region has a qualifier for Masters Coliseum. And we will be casting every single one here on the CranKy Ducklings. On top of that, we have ESL Open Cup Asia. We have ESL Open Cup Americas. We have KSL, GPO over the weekend. A lot is ahead of us, and yeah, it's great to be back on that grind set once again. I mean, I say what, we didn't really stop. We just kept going, Pop. We just kept going. But yeah, the StarCraft continues. So look forward to it. If you're a fan, if you enjoyed the cast, if you want to be a part of any of what I just mentioned, follow us. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on YouTube. We upload on YouTube on a daily basis. We also co-stream on YouTube as well. We're live actually at the moment on YouTube as we speak alongside Twitch. And starting next year, we may decide to stream on other platforms as well. We'll see. We're going to be reevaluating some things coming into the new year, and we're most likely going to be looking over some of our tournaments, maybe kind of restructuring a couple of things here and there, coming into 2024. Look forward to it. Do look forward to it. We always do our best to try to refine ourselves every single year and bring you more content and more content and more content. Let's go. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. Didn't know about that trick with the hallucination probe scout. 13 years in, I still discover new things about the game. Yeah. It's something you don't see too often. But as I mentioned before, it's mainly done in PvP. PvP is like mainly when you see that probe hallucinated scout, just because proxy pylons are so common, right? Like just because that's like where it's the most valuable. But anyway, with that, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks so much for the support. Enjoy your holidays, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. Enjoy yourselves here at the end of the year, leading into Christmas and leading into the New Year's as well. Enjoy yourselves, and yeah, take care. Take care, everyone. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. With that, we're going to be done here for the evening. If you're curious about following myself, Light_VIP, you can click on my name on the title, and you can get a link to my Twitch channel. I should be laddering tomorrow. Since we're not casting tomorrow, I'm probably going to be streaming on my personal channel. I rarely get to ladder just because we're always casting. I've said this before, but I usually, if we're casting during, if one day we're casting, I don't really have the time to ladder and stream. I say I don't have the time. I do have a little bit of time to do so, but I don't want to like spend too much energy laddering is so draining. I'm sure you know this. Laddering can be very like physically and mentally draining on your soul as well. Like it's a bit of an ordeal. So I try to avoid laddering if I'm casting. So that's why I haven't been able to for quite some time. But tomorrow, gonna be able to ladder again. So if you're interested, you can follow me there. You can follow me over on Twitch. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys on Monday for ESL Open Cup Asia and the Master Coliseum qualifiers. See you then. Hasta luego. Bye. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays. Hasta luego.